I think we're on. All right, so I hope everyone had a very happy and enjoyable and like we put the settings on. Perfect. Hope everyone had a happy Pesach. We had a really big wonders booklet that I wish I had the time to go over everything on there, but it was beautiful, the wonders of Pesach, and we also had a very, very good time at Rav Ginsburg's house in Shvi Shel Pesach on Seudat Mashiach, and the night before for women. It was amazing shiurim. So thank Hashem for the good that we have. So we're coming out of Mitzrayim. Every Jew at every time should always see himself as being in exile and then being released from Mitzrayim. As part of that, we can look to see what we learned from it, and there are unlimited and various different styles of teachings and good things that we can take from this Yom Tov from Pesach and use it for our day-to-day life. There are within Pesach there are the things deoraita, which are the Torah says you should not have chametz, and for if we want to just be yotze, if we just want to be okay with the basics of Torah, then all we would have to do is say all the chametz that I have is null and void. It's hefker. It's not mine anymore, and that's it. That would solve the problem of chametz in Pesach, and that would be taken care of our deraisa. But what we see on Pesach is a huge time for the Rabbanan, for us to connect to the mitzvah, and all throughout the years we've had different minhagim, different customs that took place, and every area of the world where Jews were had its own things that they took. And this is a good place for us to see the way that we take our own, let's call it our own 2 cents. Every person's, every obviously tzaddik, every leader of a certain area takes a certain halacha, a certain law of Pesach for that area, and that becomes the way Jews do. And we know that especially Chabad, they take it all the way with most things. Something very beautiful that Rav Ginsburg said is that every year you should take one more hidur, one more custom of Pesach, and that this way you're going up every year in the connection to the customs. Now, so we see that we go to the lowest place, to the simplest Jew, and we connect to him and take that and make that custom part of our Pesach customs. Especially on Pesach, we have the 4 sons. So the Pesach is the time where we let everyone ask questions, even the furthest person, even someone that's really coming here to make problems and doesn't really want to listen always. Someone that we say he's a Rasha, he's a wicked person, and we still connect to him, and we still allow him to ask questions. Very interesting that the Noam Elimelech on this week's Torah portion says that why are sheratzim? Why did Hashem create the lowest level of pests in this world? And one of the answer that he answers, that the Noam Elimelech brings, is that this is a way for Hashem to be given a zchus, to be showing merit to the Jews, that even if someone is not doing something that he's supposed to do, even at the lowest level, just like Kadosh Baruch Hu can create the lowest pests so that he can survive the same way he can look at the lowest Jew and give him merit and zchut to live and to fix from the lowest place. There was the story that we will talk about from the wonders of this week is the story of Reb Levi Yitzchak from Berdichev. And the story is that there was every year there was the custom of blowing the shofar. There are 2 times of year where there is a machlokas when the world was created, whether it was created on Passover or whether it was created on Rosh Hashanah in Tishrei. So there's 2 times, 2 heads of the year, 2 times that are very special, that are time for renewing the year. And in the Rosh Hashanah, the main thing that we do is we blow the shofar. And many tzaddikim, including Reb Levi Yitzchak from Berdichev, they would blow themselves. They would every year blow the shofar, and as they were blowing, they would look up in Shemayim and see that everything was taken care of. There's another story I heard of Reb Levi Yitzchak that one year he was seeing that the blowing of the shofar didn't work out as well. It wasn't going as well, meaning he wasn't able to blow well, so he screamed to the Ezras Nashim, to the women's section, and he said, I need your cries. And the women right away broke in tears, and then he blew the shofar, and it went very well. So the story that we're talking about here is one year Reb Levi Yitzchak blew the shofar, and he saw that it wasn't so good. It didn't take care of what it needed to take care of, and after you blow the shofar, there's a hi ratzon, a very special thing that we don't speak after blowing the shofar until the end of 100 blows throughout Musaf. So normally we don't talk. However, the special times when tzaddikim feel the need, and Reb Levi Yitzchak felt the need, and he spoke out, and he said that normally we say a hi ratzon, we say that the special letters that come out of Tki'ah Shvarim Tuat Tki'ah, from Kashrag is the special letters that come out of it. They're supposed to go up in Shemayim and create angels and deal with renewing the world in a better way. But this year it didn't work out so well. So I will take the same letters that describe the scrubbing and the scraping and the koshering of the kitchens and other things for Pesach that the women did before Pesach, and I will use the angels that came out of there to fix what needed to be fixed. So first of all, we see the connection between the interesting thing of cleaning for Pesach and the creating the angels of the shofar, which is blowing the new year. So there's normally, when we look at Passover, Pesach, and Nisan versus Tishrei versus Rosh Hashanah, we see 2 things. We see that Pesach is the time of hitchadshut, of having renewed everything new, and Rosh Hashanah is time of hitchazkut, of strengthening what was not going so well. That's normally how we look at it. Rav Ginsburg has books and many talks about the 2 outlooks for these 2 months and 2 holidays that are in these months. So when we look at things this way, it would look the opposite, that when you're renewing something, you're not supposed to clean, you're supposed to just buy new. New is new. And when you're trying to create and strengthen something existing, you don't blow the shofar, which is blowing the shofar normally is looked at as waking up, as something new. But we see from here that the cleaning for Pesach help us create something new. There's a very famous Gemara in Masechet Pesachim that speaks about Ravina and Ravashi. That Ravashi asked him, "What do you do with your knives? How do you use knives on Passover?" And Ravina says, "Okay, I buy new." And Rav Ashi says, well, what about people that can't afford new? He said, no, you didn't understand what I said. When I say new, it doesn't mean that I go to the store and buy new. I take the current knife, I take out the wooden piece, and I take the metal piece. And the metal piece, I completely scrub it and burn it new. And the wooden piece, I do the same thing, and I connect it back. And then it is if I have a new knife. It's a process that we do that creates a new knife. So we see here that there's something old that we are making it new. A very good place to see this is with a ger, the convert. Convert is someone that had a life. He had maybe, whether it's 13 years or 90 years, at some point a person converts, and he had the life before. And we see halachot, the laws for a convert. We don't treat him as a new Jew that was just born. We treat him as a convert. We have laws to not insult the gerim, the converts. There are laws for converts. And still we look at him as a person that was born. There are various different things various different laws that look at ger as a new person, someone completely new. There's no, his children do not inherit him. He does not inherit his parents. It's a completely new person. So here's a place where we see something that's existing but is new. So making something new is more connected to what we said, that the laws of Pesach is the Rabbanan, is the sages, is coming from us, than versus coming from above, from the Oraita, from the Torah itself, the Oraita Torah laws. When we try to connect, when we create something, we have the ability to bring our own angles and create something new. And this is obviously very special for this generation, and since the Baal Shem Tov, that we're starting to see the new Torah that the Mashiach will bring. That on the one hand it's new, on the other hand there will not be another Mount Sinai and the whole Matan Torah. It's the same Torah, so it's something the same but new. So the ability to take something that's existing and clean it, scrub it, and make it new is the ability that we learn and that we connect to on Pesach. One of the examples that we can see is we're this week on what is it, Friday? So it's on Wednesday is Kafchet Nisan, a very special time that the Rebbe said that I did my part, I did everything I could, and now I'm giving you, the Hasidim, giving you the need, or let's say the ability, although he didn't, the Rebbe, when he said it, I did my part and now you do your part. But what the Rebbe is saying is that now you have the power to do something new. Now, if we look at it and say, well, what do you mean? If you, the Rebbe, didn't think of a new way, how am I going to think of something new? So that could stop us on its place. How would we be able to come up with something that the Rebbe didn't think about? But the way to look at it is the same thing here, that objectively, the Torah way of looking at it, everything is done. Mashiach could come. But from our subjective perspective, it's not done yet. We need to bring our customs, our ways of looking at the world, at reality, and connect that to Hashem, to Torah, to the new Torah. And by doing that, we will be uplifting reality and creating something new. The Rebbe would say very famously that Gola and Geula, that being in exile and redemption is the same word except for an aleph. So you take the Aleph, and the Rebbe has several explanations what this Aleph is. But you take Aleph and you put it in the word Gola, and you create Geulah, which means that reality right now is ready. It just needs something that we can take and bring to it. And it can come from us. It can come from our subjective perspective and just create something new. And what we need to do is just look at reality and accept the fact that we can ask questions. This brings us to our sons. There's the 4 sons, and there is the 5th son that the Rebbe spoke about, and then there's 6th and 7th, etc. But we would say, if we're creating something new, what's the room? Why is there room for someone that's Rasha or Tam? Or why is there room for anything other than Tzaddik, other than the righteous, great sons? And we're creating something new. And the answer is no. Reality is going to have all these things. And we're okay. We can look at every aspect and every person and allow him to ask his own questions. Everyone can ask their questions. And when they ask their questions, the one who does the Seder, which is explained to as Avram Avinu, is the greatest person, the giants of the giant, Avram Avinu. And obviously we in every generation, when we ask the Seder, we say, yes, let's bring the question, let's bring every question that we have, every subjective feeling that we have, every thought process that we have, and just ask it on Passover. And when we are allowed to ask it, we are allowed also to bring it up and to connect it to Hashem's way of looking. And by doing that, we can free ourselves and create a new reality. Okay, that's the perspective that I wanted to bring. It was very hard to do this. Shiur, we're still in the fixing of Pesach. We had a very interesting thing that the whole part of our kitchen collapsed, and it was very exciting, and still not able to fix it. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we can have new things. So Be'ezrat Hashem, everyone should have, starting this week, a new reality where we bring our perspective and are able to create something new from it. Any questions?